Okay, this is part two, Leni Riefenstahl and Emily Hall Tremaine. So, going back to this Daily News article, what's interesting I found about it is Emily may not have even been aware of it because it was published in New York out of Palm Springs, and we don't know exactly, the journalist doesn't indicate their source about, where this is coming from. Is it something that he heard from Leni or something? And hopefully, it's just kind of gossipy. So Emily may not have known this. She was watching her media at one time back in 35 with a press cuttings agency, regional. So she wasn't getting all of the coverage on her. And I never saw anything in New York in her scrapbook. So she may be completely unaware of this clipping for that. And that comes up later. Now, it's if I can talk about, go back to this December 19th article with Emily and Leni, which it seems it's very strange because in 35 she is with Rupert Hughes, who becomes part of the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League. She has what appears to be very strong anti-Nazi creds, and the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League is on Leni at this time. About 8 months earlier, in the previous audio previewed with Elsa, they end up around a rabid Nazi, and there's a trial for extortion against Elsa's husband, and there's a hit list by the Nazi who basically is alleged to take this money that he wants to extort from him and use it to plan assassinations in Hollywood. And that is, if you refer back to that audio in Hitler in Los Angeles. And some of the names in the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League are in the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League now. Sorry, some of the names that were listed on the hit list are at this time listed in the newspaper as part of the Hollywood Anti-Nazi League that is against Leni. All right? And now Emily is in the newspaper with Leni, Santa Barbara. So if Emily is anti-Nazi in relation to intelligence, you've got to wonder, what are people looking at this? Where is she at on this? Because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. So who knows how it got into the paper is the point of it. How would she necessarily feel about that is the point of the question. And, so there are lots of little questions when we start looking at this critically. Now I'm going to refer to, which may be a surprise, Emily's secret deposition from 1940 that I unearthed, buried in a court record, because she talks about Leni minimally, but it is something. All right. So, by the way, if you're interested in this is on artdesigncafe.com. There are 3 or 4 PDFs. It's an excerpt from a court record and a deposition. It was announced as a secret deposition and then ended up in the court record, presumably, again, presumption, that decided by Emily in consultation with her lawyer. So I'm looking at, on the website, it's the section J, deposition. All right, the lawyer is asking Emily, do you know Leni Riefenstahl? And she says, I have met her. In fact, you entertained her in your home in Santa Barbara, did you not? She has been in my home, yes. How long was she there? An hour. When was that? I suppose a couple of years ago. Was it prior to or after your husband's death? After. Who is Leni Riefenstahl? She is a German actress and a producer of films. And what connection, if any, does she bear to Adolf Hitler? I do not know. You do not know of any connection? No. So that's it. That's all we get. And so that's this isn't a formal deposition in a nasty divorce for that. So one can question how truthful she is being here, but also it reflects a certain thing. She's a social celebrity. She's seeing things that are not always true in the press on her. There's so many examples. I've looked at a lot of the media coverage. So maybe she kind of thinks openly about people. Germans were dodgy and then anti-Nazi, and dealing with threats of all kinds. So we'll just move on from that for a second. All right. So the real questions, if you will, that I think we want to know, or that I want to know, is how and why did this happen? This meeting, what's it about? I mean, was Emily like a fan of Leni, if you will, or did she say, "Oh, gee, what you're all doing is over there is great," or is she spying for that? So those are the key questions. We've nailed down the journalistic question of where. It's at her house. When? Well, that's kind of an issue. We have in the newspaper that she's noted as being there, so that sounds like it's the time. But there's this other report out of Palm Springs that suggests she went back. But then Emily would be lying, in her deposition. So, I would, it's possible, but I would kind of throw it out before more. I mention it, but throw it out until more information is provided. And the big thing is like how the people mentioned in that article in Santa Barbara. I've never seen those names before. I mean, I of course know. In relation to Emily, it is mentioned in the Leni discourse that she was at that ranch for that. Here are some things I'm sort of thinking about. Elsa, the Elsa people, know this, was a silent film actress in Berlin, and the only connection, not really knowing a lot about that, is that one of her directors or producers, named, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly, Bella, and the film people already know who this is. Bella Ballas, something like Bella So that he worked with Leni, I believe, on Blue Light afterward. So there is a connection there. Because why is Emily meeting Leni, and how is this being done for that? And it could be other people as well, in Santa Barbara, or Gissling. Or Georg Gissling, the consul of LA, that for that. So then the question is, well, why would she meet her? And this is another element that comes in. Her brother-in-law is in the Navy towards naval intelligence, and later works for the top guy. And naval intelligence is the key place to collecting Nazi activity information and sending it to Hoover in Washington at the FBI. So another possibility with this is that she's in town or whatever, and Bennett, kind of maybe says to her, "Can you invite her over? Find out what she's doing, who she's meeting, particularly who she's meeting, would be interesting. Chat her up." Kind of thing. Now, another element in this is Emily had a German nationality. She was American, and then she married an American guy with German nationality in 1928. He died in a plane crash. Really, just what was it? It was in June 1938, and now it's December 1938. She may still have had German nationality at that time. He was expatriating. He was getting American citizenship a year earlier. His papers came in after he died. Imagine dealing with the German consulate and government at this time, with nationality matters. But anyway, she may have been officially German as well at that time. It's a little complicated in this because, as I understand it, she could have one or the other, according to the Germans. And but in some of the travel records, it looks like she has both. She enters the ship; it's noted American and or German, and then it's crossed out American. You know, in that, if you know people who have passports, in that kind of way. But she may still have had formal liabilities to Germany. And von Killinger, Manfred von Killinger, the German consul, was known to be really awful to just as a person. And that's covered in the Elsa audio previously. He was noted to have left in early December 1938. So this is before the meeting with Leni, but whoever was in the office in there. So we don't know if there was pressure from that. So, let's see, I think that's, okay. Just to note, I haven't looked at the Nina Gladitz book on Leni, but if these things are ever going to become clearer, I think it's all diving into declassified intelligence. And that's all the people around it, basically. But the core would be, well, not only Emily, there's still some channels to look at, but specifically Leni. I have read some of the books on around Leni, specifically looking at this, and nothing popped up. But things like, do we know, is there an FBI, declassified FBI report? Was there one on Leni? How about Office of Naval Intelligence for that? And also Gissling, Georg Gissling, and I have seen this, he, at least in other instances, he did reports, detailed reports of the activities of specific visitors with media, sending the media back to Germany. So that's another thing where it could be clarified for that. And noting that Gissling at times was a double agent to the U.S. Let me just look here. There's also, which I haven't seen, one of the people Leni was traveling with, he stayed on in the U.S. I gather he defected, if you will, or claimed asylum, and he was writing about the trip for that. That's buried in an archive that I haven't yet reviewed. And then I did contact the Leni archive in Berlin, and apparently there are no letters before 1945, and I did a check, and there was no Tremaine after 1945. So this kind of was a 1 hour strange meeting. So that's the brief on Leni Riefenstahl and Emily Hall Tremaine.